How long, how long will donkeys keep leading lions? How long will greedy hands keep wasting what was never theirs to own? How long will they keep building comfort for their children's children, while other people's children inherit fear, hunger and silence? They arrive with empty pockets and leave with swollen names. They call it leadership, but it looks too much like feeding. They gather what they did not plant, store what they did not earn, and still reach for more, as though the country were a plate made only for their bloodline. They want enough for their sons, enough for their daughters, enough for generations unborn, and yet they keep taking from those who cannot afford to lose one more thing.
And still they want more, still they want more, even after swallowing what should have fed a nation.
How long will donkeys keep leading lions? How long will weak men sit where strength belongs? Too long, we have carried this wrong. Too long, donkeys have been leading lions. Oh, how long must the strong keep suffering for the small? How long before lion hearts refuse to crawl?
While all this is going on, his school shoes still fit, but the family budget no longer does, so he stands near the doorway, quiet enough to look brave, watching his father avoid his eyes, because love is present, but the money is not. He carries the shame of scarcity as though it were his personal failure. He has become an expert at hiding worry behind ordinary conversation, asking simple questions in a steady voice while panic burns behind his ribs.
And she should be choosing dreams, not measuring which roads are safest. She should be thinking about exams, laughter, friends, and the shape of tomorrow, not learning so early how quickly innocence becomes caution. A girl should not have to shrink her joy to survive her own city. Childhood should not need this much vigilance. A mother should not have to wait by the phone, as though every unanswered call might rearrange the whole house forever. But it is never their daughter, never their son, never their family learning fear this young.
How long will donkeys keep leading lions? How long will weak men sit where strength belongs? Too long, we have carried this wrong. Too long, donkeys haven't been leading lions. Oh, how long must the strong keep suffering for others? How long before lion hearts refuse to grow?
What should have been a routine procedure became a private earthquake in her body.
Now the bed where she should have recovered has become a place of slow grief.
Her husband sits beside her, trying to sound hopeful, while something in him is collapsing that he does not have words for.
He was taught to provide, to protect, to hold the house together, but no one taught him what to do with the shame of not being able to save everyone he loves.
So he speaks calmly,
He speaks normally,
and he breaks quietly.
the worst part, sometimes a lion finally gets his turn. The people lift him, believe in him, make room for him, pray he will remember where he came from. But power touches him. become a donkey.
That is how the cycle survives. Not only through wicked men, but through wounded men who reach the top and start feeding on the same people who once called them hope.
How long will donkeys keep leading lions? How long will men keep still with strange fugitives?
Too long, too long,
Too long, we have carried this wrong. Too long,
too long, too long,
too long, donkeys haven't been leading lions.
No more donkeys over lions. No more hunger dressed as leadership. Oh Lord.
How long must the strong keep suffering for the small? How long before lion hearts refuse to crawl?
his school shoes still fit, but the family budget no longer does. She should be choosing dreams, not measuring which roads are safest. What should have been routine became a private earthquake in her body. And some who rise as lions still return as donkeys. That is how long this has gone on.